So hello and welcome to another class of AB Sciences. This is Abhishek with you. So today I'll be talking about vaccines and the basics. I'll start from this class. This is the first class in this series, and then I'll cover all of the vaccines and the most important topics and questions in this chapter. So first I'll start with the basic concept of vaccines. And the primary question which evolves in your mind, that is, what is the difference between vaccination and immunization? Which these two terms are very common inside your brain when you're using or when you're studying this chapter. So let's start with the difference between vaccination and immunization. So before that, we'll go for the vaccine. What is vaccine? So vaccine is a substance which contains the immunogen that elicits an immune response against a particular pathogen. So this is called vaccine. Now the process of vaccine, when the vaccine, that immunogen, is being entered into your body for the protection, that time it is called vaccination. Now, what is the difference between vaccination and immunization? So vaccination is an artificial process. Okay, so vaccination is an artificial process. Why it is artificial? Because the immunogen which the doctors or the nurses or the prescribed personnel which were authorized to vaccinate a people is just following the procedure or just using the chemical or the substance in the vaccine to immunize you. Okay, so that's how you get vaccinated. Okay, so it's an artificial process, means that immunogen is not naturally present in your body, or you are not naturally infected with the immunogen. So that immunogen is either lab synthesized or processed by different companies, and then it is suitable, the suitable design of that immunogen is being readily developed for your body. That is the artificial process of protection against a pathogen. It's called vaccination, which is an artificial process. Now, if you come to immunization, so immunization is a type of vaccination. Immunization can be of either natural or artificial. So natural, when you are infected with a particular pathogen, that may be a virus or bacterial fungus, that time your body elicits an immune response either in innate immune way or a specific adaptive immune way. That time it procures or it enables the immunity in your body against the particular pathogen is naturally occurred by your body, because you are infected by the pathogen naturally without the intervention of any other person or individual. But here, in case of artificial process or immunization, that time that immunogen, I told you about that the immunogen is just vaccinated or injected inside you from other source that is not natural. That's why in artificial immunization you can get vaccine. So under this artificial immunization process, you can have vaccine. In this natural process, either you will be naturally infected and then you acquire the process, that is, acquire the immunity. It is called natural immunization. So always, sometimes natural immunization is not enough to deal with a pathogen, because you may not survive the initial attack or the primary attack by the pathogen. That's why you need vaccine. And this vaccine is a revolution in the field of immunology, because with the help of vaccination, nowadays most of the diseases are repellent, or you can resist a type of disease due to this vaccine process. So now, when you talk about vaccine, I think it's clear what is the difference between vaccination and immunization. As I've said, is artificial and natural processes. So all the vaccination process is not, you can say, immunization, but the immunization, under immunization you can have vaccination, as it is a process of artificial induction. So this is the primary difference between vaccination and immunization. Now we'll talk about immunization most of the that, and you will know the natural and artificial way. So within immunization, you can have active and passive immunization. So first to talk about the passive immunization, because it's a small part to play in this part. So let's go to the passive immunization. So before going to passive immunization, I would like to tell you something. I would like to freshen up something, because I've taken a class on overview of immunology. There you can see all the things. But a little bit I want to tell you about the thing. The vaccine is the concept behind the vaccine is to enable your immune system. Okay, not the non-specific immune system, but the adaptive immune system, because adaptive immune system has the function or has the capability in form itself as a memory cells, and as well as the action against the pathogen is much more abrupt and a dramatic way of the interaction between the antigen and antibodies in the case of B cells, and the cell-mediated immune response, which involves much more non-specific immunity. Also, cell-mediated immunity is very, very important in case of against fighting against any kind of antigen or pathogen. So that's why when you are talking about a vaccine, we are going for the adaptive immunity. But adaptive immunity is not alone. It is not capable enough to do all the things by its own, except the B cells, which produces antibodies, or you can also say humoral response, and the T cells, which is a cell-mediated response. Cell-mediated response. It is through T helper and TC, that is cytotoxic T cells. So you know that, or I have already told you that this adaptive and T cell mediated or cell mediated responses needs very much longer time to evoke or to generate adaptive immune response or against a pathogen, or to form the memory against a pathogen whenever it is readily you are readily infected with this pathogen, anyhow, or any time of the year or any month. So that time these things need to be present there to act very fast and swiftly to eradicate the pathogen from your body. So as I've said that we may not get the second chance, that's why you need the vaccination. So vaccination enables your body, the immunogen of a particular pathogen is already present in your body, okay, in the form of vaccine. So your body has the memory of the particular pathogen already in itself against this pathogen in the form of B cell. Either it can respond as a directly producing antibody and or with cell mediated immune response, that is T helper or T cytotoxic response, with accordance of non-specific immunity also. So this is the concept of vaccine development, to reach the maximum limit of immune system and destroy the pathogen as soon as possible, as soon as it enters into your body. That's the basic concept. Now, I was telling about active and passive immunization. So first come to passive immunization. Passive immunization means the antibodies which are made inside your body against the pathogen is not made by you. Suppose I am infected with a pathogen like diphtheria. Okay, so the treatment for the diphtheria prescribed by my doctor is to get the antibodies for somewhere else. That means that antibody is not produced inside my body. Instead, that antibody is already produced somewhere, and it is directly pre-produced form, that pre-produced form directly injected inside me to neutralize the toxins. Okay, so that is the passive concept of passive immunization. Okay, So that is ready-made antibodies made somewhere else, but not by the susceptible individual. Okay, so these are ready-made antibodies. Now, if I give you example of ready-made immunization or passive immunization, that is when you get a snake bite, or you go for the diphtheria as I told you, or Clostridium infection, that time the toxins will be directly neutralized by the ready-made antibodies produced somewhere inside other host, and that is directly injected into your body to neutralize the toxins in that wound. So if you divide this passive immunization into two forms, that is naturally and artificially, that time I can give you the example of natural passive immunization in the form of the antibodies that is transferred from mother to babies. Natural passive immunization, NPI. I'm not writing the full form. It's maternal to fetal antibody transfer. That is natural passive immunization. Okay. Now you go for artificial PI. That time you can say that in the form of snake bite, where artificially produced antibodies are taken from somewhere and someone is injected or injecting inside me. So I'm the vulnerable or the susceptible person. So same in the case of other disease also. But here it is natural because it is naturally occurring without the help of any other personnel or mechanism. It is naturally occurring or naturally transferring. The mother is naturally transferring the antibodies to the baby for the protection. So this is passive immunization. That is in the form. You can write some examples over here. That is diphtheria, tetanus. Okay, this type of we can snake bite or insect bite. So these are the natural and artificial passive immunization examples. But there are several advantages. What are advantages? And there are some disadvantages. So advantages are there, except from this natural PA that you already know, that baby within the few years of the baby born, that time the immunity of the baby is not much more elevated level or not is fully matured. That's why need the protection from the outer pathogens that is conferred by the maternal antibodies. But in case of artificial PI, the advantages are there that it is abrupt and rapid response against the pathogen. So it will give you immediate result and immediate relief or immediate eradication from the problem. That is the advantage, big advantage of the passive immunization. But what are the disadvantages? So there are several disadvantages of this passive immunization when you are taking this artificial PI from other hosts, like in case of snake bite, that antivenom is produced or the produced inside the horse. So it is a separate host from the human body. It's totally different host. So that antibody is produced inside the horse and that is being injected inside you. So there are isotypic reactions. Isotypic reactions, if you read the antibody chapter, that time you'll see idiotypic antibodies, isotypic antibodies, allotypic antibodies. So these antibodies have the differences depending on the Fc regions, the amino acid compositions, variable regions of the antibodies. So depending upon that isotypic reaction, it deals with the species specific or the different species antibody is injected inside your body. That time the acetopic reactions may be elevated level. It can show you, or it can elevate your IgE levels in some individuals, not all individuals. IgE levels much more. So you may get a anaphylactic shock. This one is a very crucial disadvantage of passive immunization. The next one is the antigen antibody complexes. Due to the isotypic reactions, there may be formation of antigen class antibody complexes, which will generate what? Type 3 hypersensitive reactions. Type 3 hypersensitive reactions. So not only the species or different species antibody problem is there, there is one crucial problem when you are giving the same species, like if you inject the same immunoglobulin, IgG immunoglobulin from another human being to the other human being, that time also you will see allotypic reactions. So that allotypic reaction is also very harmful to the human body. So that's why, or that kind of, you can write here, allotypic reactions. Even if the same IgG driven from the human species. So these are the crucial advantages of passive immunization. So I hope this passive immunization information will help you in different exams. Now I'll go for the active immunization. So the active immunization deals with, you can say, vaccine or natural immunization. Now, active immunization is very much essential or very much required for your body, because you may not be exposed to the other pathogens in your lifetime, but sometimes you get the pathogen and you'll be infected, and it will show you a very hamperful or bad result on your health. That time, or for this reason, you need to have vaccinated for the particular pathogens. Now, there are several time limits for newborns for up to different years, the different levels of booster doses, and why the doses are necessary, everything I will tell you about here. So, all the things are very, very much necessary to know about the vaccine. Now, active immunization can be given by, or the vaccine can be given by, in the different forms. Okay, so first one is the heat-killed vaccines, maybe attenuated vaccines, conjugated vaccines, DNA vaccines, recombinant vaccines, subunit vaccines, like a particular component of the vaccine, pathogen. So everything is under the vaccine column. Now, natural immunization, I told you already, that is, you are naturally infected with the pathogen, but if you are elevated to some pathogens again in your life form, that natural immunization may help you in future. Like chickenpox, there are probabilities that if you are infected with once with the chickenpox, the next time you will be immunized already, so you will not get second type of infection in chickenpox. That is the natural immunization. If you acquire the chickenpox in your own, on your own, naturally from the environment. So in detail, for further, I will go for the vaccination process, and what are the types of vaccination, what are the types of immunogens which can be used inside the human body, and step by step I will clear all the concepts, and I'll show you the disadvantages and the advantages for each of the vaccines, and which is the most active or most used vaccines nowadays, why it is so used. So I may tell you few important questions that rise when you go for vaccination. So some vaccines you will read, it is a multi-dose vaccine. Some vaccines are generally one dose is efficient for your whole life. Some you need 2 or 3 doses. So this why this kind of discrepancy between the vaccines? So sometimes I will say the maternal antibody that is transferred to the newly born child, that antibodies are circulating inside the baby. Like now, if you immunize the baby at a certain time within the very rare time or very, I can say, immediate time after born, that time that antibodies will interfere with the natural or immunogens which are going to put inside the body baby. Okay, so that's why you need more doses of vaccine for few or newborn. Okay, because the effect of maternal antibodies which are interfering with the vaccines. Now, some vaccines need only once in your lifetime. That is mostly live attenuated vaccines, because these live attenuated vaccines are present in your body permanently or for longer period enough to generate an immunological memory response. That is, if your memory cells are active, if you have the memory against a particular pathogen, that whenever, at what time, no matters, you will be infected with the pathogen and your body will eradicate the pathogen drastically within no time. That is, your adaptive immune response is ready to counter the pathogen already, because you have recognized your bodies, or the bodies recognized with this pathogen earlier in the form of vaccines. So in this case, live attenuated vaccines is much more effective, and that's why it is very essential to know the pros and cons of each vaccine. So we'll be meeting the next class, and I'll be going for the next generation of vaccines. So if you like my classes, give a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe my channel, because these things stimulate me to take futuristic classes for you guys. So thank you and be with me.